don't think I'd like to ever be on a stage and not really want to be there. If I don't want to be on that stage, I mean, I got no business being there. You know, if you get up, you might not want to be there. I mean, it might be the last thing in the world you want to do, but you must do that. I mean, you must go there and somehow just kick in, you know. It's got to start someplace, you know. My shows usually I'm usually in a no frame of mind before a show, none whatsoever. And I have to kick in at some place along the line. It usually takes me sometimes one or two songs. Sometimes it takes me much longer than that. Sometimes it takes me to the encore.
Because the band, I would
if I get an encore.
The band, I would imagine, has an effect on that. Doesn't it? I mean, you're not just up there yourself.
Absolutely. I played with some bands that have gotten in my way so much it's just been a struggle to get through the show. Oh yeah, certain times it gets ridiculous. You know?
I imagine the flip side too. There's probably bands that turn you on.
Yeah, this last group we had was I thought was really good.
Rolling Thunder was an interesting tour. It was different for you. Well, that, at least from what I read about it, it wasn't just the performing, but the whole idea of the thing. There was a spontaneity to it. No?
Yeah, it was. Definitely, there was a lot of spontaneity to that.
Was it scary or exciting?
A little of both. Yeah.
How did it...
We used to do double shows at the Rolling Thunder shows. We'd be in a hall, say, for 14 hours. Rolling Thunder shows were 6 hours long.
Were they really?
Oh, yeah.
That had to be people loving to make music.
Well, there was so many people, you know, that the people in the audience came and went. There'd be people lined up outside. When other people left the show, people would bring their lunch, you know, or dinner or something.
And the Grateful Dead concert.
Yeah.
Was that did that idea come from you?
No, that just happened. We started out with a small show and it just evolved into that.
That's an amazing thing to me, that you're able to maintain that. A lot of people, when they get to a certain place in the business.
I thought the Rolling Thunder shows were great. I think someday somebody should make a movie about them.
And call it?
Rolling Thunder.
We got it. You've been smiling a lot and laughing a lot here. You don't do that much on stage, but you say you really enjoy yourself. You look so serious.
Well, the songs take you through different trips, you see. I mean, you know, what's there to smile about? If you can't, how are you going to sing Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, or Tangled Up in Blue, or With God on Our Side, or Mr. Tambourine Man, or Like a Rolling Stone, or you know, License to Kill, or Shot of Love, or Poison Love, you know, or any of that. How can you sing that with a smile on your face? I mean, it would be kind of hypocritical. You know?
And yet there were...
And yet you do.
Sure. Historically, there have been many blues singers. Like Copacabana had smiled through a blues song.
Right, yeah.
By the way, I noticed that...
I used to hate that singing, the blues singers, singing with those sad lyrics with a big smile on their face. I mean, it was like they were painted on, you know?
Yeah.
So are you saying that the songs that, a lot of those songs you mentioned are written about heavy subjects, but your writing is not essentially morbid.
Heavy metal writing.
You see where Big Mama Thornton died yesterday?
Oh no!
Yeah.
That's who died. Oh, I could feel that somewhere. Yeah.
Huh.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I was just listening to her the other day too.
Is that the kind of music you like to listen to, or you listen to?
Yeah, I listen to blues records.
Do you listen to the radio much, though?
No, I seldom listen to the radio. I don't hardly watch TV and I never read a newspaper. People just tell me what's going on. I either believe it or don't, you know.
You read books much?
No, I read the Bible.
Good.
Yeah.
Did you ever read a lot?
No, I never read a lot. I read poetry when I was young.
Who'd you read?
I read almost all the poets, French poets and English poets. Keats and Shelley, Baudelaire, Rimbaud, those guys.
Outside of school?
Yeah, I don't remember reading much in school. I don't know what I read in school. It's been so long ago, I can't remember going to school.
You had like a year of college or something?
I had no time in college. I was supposed to go to college, and I went to a few classes, but I had no report cards to speak of, no record book of me in college.
It's amazing, though, when you think that here you are making your living, in a sense, writing to some extent. Writing as well as
performing. Well, I'm writing
songs.
songs for me. I mean, you know, I'm not a novelist turning out my next novel, you know.
I think the most interesting thing you said so far, by the way.
Have I said anything yet?
Yeah. One thing that was exceptionally interesting to me was when you said that you started writing because nobody was writing the song that you wanted to sing.
That's when I started writing. That's when I'm still writing.
So you write, you do it for you.
I wish somebody would come along and send me some songs that I could do. I mean, it's such a burden taken off my shoulder, you know? I mean, it's heavy, man.
To write all those songs and you're Bob Dylan, you would expect them. There still is a lot of expectation. Have you been able to get beyond that of worrying about what people expect out of you?
Who expects what? I mean, anybody that expects anything from me is it's borderline case, you know. Nobody in any kind of reality sense is going to expect anything from me. I mean, I've already given them enough. What do they want from me, you know? You can't keep depending on one person to give you everything. Well,
No, it's
I mean, unless it's a very special person.
Yeah. There's going to be somewhat of a tough play because that wasn't part of the bargain. I mean, you write songs for yourself.
I don't even bother with the people expecting me. I don't care about it.
When Bob wrote some of those first songs, now bear in mind in those days Warner Brothers Music was a classic Madison Avenue Tin Pan Alley music publisher. It was the publisher of Gershwin, Cole Porter, Rodgers and Hart, etc. And they were not used to the lonesome death of Hattie Carroll or
Yeah, but what do you think? On the Ed Sullivan Show once, they wouldn't let you sing John Birch?
Yeah.
Or something?
Yeah, I don't know why I walked off that show. I could have done something else, but we rehearsed that song, so many times. And everybody had heard it. I mean, we just rehearsed it, for maybe days, when they run to the show, they just, put you on and you run through your number and you're off. And it always got a great response. And I was looking forward to singing it because it had gotten such a great response. And Ed Sullivan seemed to really like it. And as I remember,
probably it was the sponsor who objected.
I don't know who objected, but this was Showtime. It was Showtime, And just before I was going out to sing it, they came in and there was a big huddle. I could see people talking about something, and I was just getting ready to play, And somebody stepped up and said that I couldn't sing that song. They wanted me to sing a Clancy Brothers song. And it didn't make any sense for me to sing a Clancy Brothers song on nationwide TV at that time. So I just left.
Yeah, I remember that caused some furor. Do you remember a time we were all down in San Juan, Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
The CBS record convention?
Yeah.
And it was being held at the San Juan Hilton, or whatever they call it. San Juan Hilton, I guess. And Caribe Hilton. This huge CBS record convention, and it was just as Bob was beginning to hit. And the president of the CBS at the time was a fabulous man named Goddard Lieberson. And they wouldn't let Bob in the hotel because he was not wearing, I think, a tie or a jacket.
Yeah, or a shirt.
And Lieberson, to his credit, told the manager, either he comes in the hotel or I'm pulling the whole convention out of here. Have I told the story right?
Yeah, he was a big supporter of mine, Goddard Lieberson, as was John Hammond. Without those people like that, I don't think nothing would have happened for me. If I was to come along now, in this day, with all these people that are running record companies now, they would see somebody like me, they would, bar the door, I think. But we had people back then that were more entrenched in individuality or something.
But also not as insecure in their jobs.
No. They ran things. When they made decisions and it stuck. Now, I mean, it's like everybody's checks with somebody else and say, well, I'll tell you tomorrow, call me back later. Yeah, we almost got a deal, stuff like that,
You know the great Goddard Lieberson story at a CBS convention in Las Vegas once? He was the MC, and in front of about 2,000 people, he gets up and he announces, he's introducing all the acts one by one as they're about to perform. And finally he arrives at the closing act and he announces, and now CBS Records proudly presents Mr. Noel Coward. And from the back of the crowd, somebody yells, Noel Coward is a goddamn fag. And without skipping a beat, Lieberson says, nevertheless.
Did you get along okay with record? I mean, do you think that they...
After Goddard was great.
Yeah, you got along okay with them?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he was a fantastic man.
He even came to some sessions of mine. He always would stop in and say hello, Yeah. He's very,
And the funny thing is, he was probably more urbane and sophisticated than any of the existing record company presidents. So the contrast, I mean, he was really Mr. Suave.
He was.
Did they ever get any pressure, though? I mean, there were people who considered your music almost subversive, although I always considered it very American.
I guess they did, I don't know. But they, like I said, they seemed to run things. Other people might have they'd been talking under their breath or something, or behind their back and things like that. But at this time, their big acts were Mitch Miller, and Mitch Miller was the biggest. Andy Williams.
Johnny Mathis.
Johnny Mathis was big, yeah. They didn't have anybody like I think they did a Pete Seeger record, but that was John Hammond's thing. And I didn't begin to sell records anyway until the second record. I think the second record I made the charts, yeah. Went up the charts, the second record I did.
First single to make the charts was Subterranean Homesick Blues. Made the bottom of the charts.
That was on my fourth record or something.
Yeah.
But the Freewheeling album made the charts. But it was Subterranean Homesick.
There was an amazing single, though, when you think of what the singles were like at that time. I was driving around tonight. I was driving around the village, and on CBS FM, they have an oldies show, like the 1960s. They're playing all this music from 64, or 61, 66, 63. And it was amazing, because I was thinking of, coming here and telling you, it was amazing, all that doo-wop, hello, how are you stuff, that the stuff you were doing, sold or even got on the radio. I mean, just in terms of what was coming down at the time.
They made some good records then that were good pop records. Not on Columbia, though. Phil Spector was doing a lot of stuff in the at that time. And, Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller, I think, were doing. That was our big.
Did you listen to a lot of pop stuff at that time?
Yeah, I would listen to a lot of pop stuff, but it never influenced what I was doing to any great degree. It had the earlier stuff did, but like the really early stuff that I heard, the old hillbilly stuff, or when rock and roll came in after Elvis, Elvis, Carl Perkins, Buddy Holly, those people, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, that stuff influenced me to do that, but
in the 30s.
Faded away. Yeah, nostalgia to me.
Yeah.
Nostalgia to me isn't really rock and roll, because when I was a youngster, the music they were playing, the music I heard was Frankie Lane, Rosemary Clooney, Dennis, what's his name, like Your Hit Parade, Dennis Day, or
Dorothy
Collins, and the Mills Brothers, all that stuff. When I hear stuff like that, it always strikes a different chord than all the rock and roll stuff does. The rock and roll stuff, I had a conscious mind at that time, but 10 years before that, it was like Mule Train, and what was all that stuff?
All the stuff that Mitch Miller did.
Yeah, Mitch Miller. Well, Mitch Miller I never really cared for the stuff Mitch Miller did.
But he produced those records. He produced the Frankie Lane records, the Guy Mitchell records.
I didn't know that. Guy Mitchell, I thought he was great. Johnny Ray knocked me out.
Yeah.
Johnny Ray was the first person actually who really knocked me out.
What was it? What was it about Johnny Ray, you think?
Oh, he was just so emotional, wasn't he? Just...
Funny, I saw Johnny Ray a few months ago.
I ran into him in an elevator in Australia. He was like one of my idols, I mean, I was speechless. There I was in an elevator with Johnny Ray, and what did he say,